rising, rise. Bring it on.
It's another beautiful day here on Axe TV. I welcome you to the Social Spotlight Show. On this show, we discuss about social issues arise day in and day out, ranging from political, social, educational, and a whole lot. On today's program, we are going to discuss about education, the benefits of educating a child. That's why I have with me in the studio Mr. Avudufu Bright Godfred, a teacher from North Legon Little Campus, here with me to help me do the discussion. A big thanks to Axe Media Training Institute. You want to be a renowned journalist, TV presenter, radio presenter, editor, then I'm advising you to come to Axe Media Training Institute. Axe Media Training Institute, I see Bisa near Dubemont. Let's go for a quick commercial break. I respond to the name Agnes Avudufu. Let's go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Ask Media Training Institute, a radio and television practical school. Identity Emma wana opese waya ejuma radio and television so wana opese usia camera works, wana opese usia video editing. Enunti se wawie journalism school, anase college of education, polytechnic nwawie, anase university, embo senior high school nwawie na aiwani swade hunu se opese waya ejuma radio so anase TV so. Ask Media Training Institute ana mekanfo edi amawo o hostel edi ma ema ene mema enuti fa form ne ewo Royal TV officer ewo Kumase ahoju enhyaye so anase Royal TV officer ewo enkran achibota ene ABC ene di enhwani mu omoga rural bank na esro hwa ahomatofo so a obetumi afrɛ 0540102366. Ask Media Training Institute osi bisa near the bema.
Things in this can't you see?
Welcome back from that quick commercial break to the Social Spotlight Show. As I said it earlier on, today we are going to talk about education, the benefits of educating a child. That's why I have with me Mr. Avudufu Bright Godfred, a teacher from North Legon Little Campus, here with me to do the discussion. To unveil the net, Mr. Avudufu, welcome to the Social Spotlight Show.
Thank you very much.
You're looking gorgeous.
Thank you. Same as you.
Thank you. Hope you are doing great.
I'm doing very great by God's grace.
Okay, Mr. Avudufu, today we are looking at education in general. So how do you explain education?
Well, there are several meanings and then several definitions about education. But for me, education is just a lifetime process that looks at learning, unlearning, and then relearning. So that is how I define education. A lifetime process. It doesn't end until you die. You cannot say you have been educated enough. Yeah.
How?
Well, education starts even from the womb. That's why when people are or women are pregnant, they are spoken to, they are told to talk to their children or the baby in the womb. Babies kick in the womb. You know why? They are responding to a certain stimulus, something outside of the environment and inside of them. So when you talk to them, they hear. So you start educating a child or a baby even from the womb.
Okay, so what are the types of education we have?
Generally, there are 3 types of education, and one is formal, where there is a formal setting. You go there, a confined area where you go there to learn, right? And then you have also the informal, where there is no specific area, a confined area, no. And then there is that non-formal, which normally combines the two, formal and informal, right? Yeah, so formal, we'll look at the general, the schools we go. Well, there's a, let me point it out that there's a difference between a school and education.
What's the difference?
Well, the difference really is that you can go to school and you may not be educated. Schools are supposed to educate, but you may go to a school without being educated. Yes, because they are supposed to instruct you, make you learn. So learning should bring changes in your life. So Professor Aite former Vice Chancellor of University of Ghana, he said that when you go to a university, a school, you should make the school pass through you. You shouldn't do what? Pass through the school, right? So people go to schools without being educated. They don't allow the systems to go through them. So you see people outside thinking they've been educated, meanwhile they are not.
How will you know if someone is educated or not?
Well, looking at the person's behavior.
Like how?
Oh, you go to schools and then they teach you how to respond to certain things, how to behave in a setting. So if you come out of it and you don't implement it, today people go to schools without actually coming out to perform what they are supposed to. So you're not being educated. You get my point? Yes, you may go to school. You may end up going to the street after school. So there are several unemployed graduates. Why? Because when they went to school, when they were in school, what was taught, they did not imbibe it. They did not let the systems and the things that were taught in school go through them. That is it. And if you do that, if you are not able to get it, adopt what is taught in the school, and then adapt to it, you will not make any change. And before you can make any outside change, you should effect that change within you.
Okay. So do one need education to be successful?
Of course, you would need education to be successful.
But I think with education, you can be successful. Or...
That is the point. You are, and many people do. And I forgive them, because that is also part of education. You are equating education to schooling, right? You are equating education to schooling. So the question I think you are asking is that do I need school to be successful, rather than do I need education? Because I've told you already that education starts from the womb. Imagine a child who was not educated, who was not taught, who was not instructed to do anything. How would that child end? So you would need education, be it formal, informal, non-formal. You would need it to be able to succeed. And mind you, again, another term that people misuse and abuse is this: success. People take wealth as success. When they have wealth, they've been able to amass wealth, then it means that they are successful. That is a wrong notion. So the two things, education, success, have been misused, and that is the point.
How have they been misused?
For instance, I told you that you can't say you cannot avoid education. You can avoid schooling, yes, but you cannot avoid education. Your mom educated you. Your dad educated you even before he or she sent you to school. School, you are supposed to get the formal education, but informal started before, right? So you cannot say you don't need education to be successful. You need education. If even your mom or your parents handed you property or whatever it is, the will, everything is for you, and at the end of it, you are not educated, you cannot handle it. Someone will use the education, because education is supposed to enlighten people, broaden their knowledge, broaden their mind, their scope. You get the point? So imagine you get money and you don't know how to use it. What will happen?
Become poor.
Someone will dupe you. Someone will come and then take the money from you. So there are several rich people who don't know how to use their money, and people are taking advantage of them to take it. So you may end up just surrendering your property to someone. Haven't you heard it before that, oh, I was rich and this pastor told me to do this and that? That person lacked education.
Now maybe because they send the money there because they are facing problem and they believe that the pastor might help them. That's why they send the money.
And that is why I said you need education, because the Bible, even the Bible said that for lack of knowledge, my people do what? Perish. So if you had the knowledge that God is in me, I can pray to God myself in my room. Why would you go to a pastor to give everything to him or her? It's because you don't have that knowledge. And so the person who has acquired that knowledge, and that is education, will take what you have from you.
Okay, so how does education empower a person?
Exactly what I'm saying, that education broadens your scope. It empowers you to do whatever God has deposited in you to do. Because each and every one of us has a latent talent, something hidden in you that you must do what? Bring out. Without education, you cannot do it. You know why? You need someone to guide you. Because even God, in the Garden of Eden, do you know what he did? He created everything and gave it to Adam. And according to Genesis chapter 2 verse 20, God gave all the animals to Adam to name them. That education starts from there. Do this and you do it. Guiding you through it is education. So education would have to empower you, enlighten you to make the right choices. If you don't have the right education, you cannot make the right choices. And that will spell your doom.
Mr. Osu, I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
At this juncture, we are going for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Ask Media Training Institute, a radio and television practical school. Identity Emma Wana or Pesa or a Juma or radio any television so one or Pesa Usia camera works, one or Pesa Usia video editing. Anunti say what we journalism school, another college of education, polytechnic in Wabie, another university, and senior high school in Wabie. Na Iwaniswa de Unisa Pesa or Juma radio so another TV swam. Ask Media Training Institute and American for Eddie Amawo or hostel at the Ma and the Enuti found form ne our Royal TV officer ewo Kumase ahoju enhyaye so anase Royal TV officer ewo enkran achibota ene ABC ene di enhwanimu omo oga rural bank na esro hwa ahomatofo so a obetumi afrɛ 0540102366. Ask Media Training Institute osi bisa near the Bema.
Things in this land, can't you see?
Welcome back from that quick commercial break. If you just join us here, we are discussing about education with Mr. Owusu. So, Mr. Owusu, what are the effects of lack of education?
The
effect of lack of education.
Lack of education. Looking at the positive side, as I said earlier, you just need to look at the negative sides and look at the negatives or the lack of education, what you need, right, to know about education. If you get to know what you need to know, then you know the bad side. I made reference to the fact that someone gets money, becomes rich, or the person gets property handed down to the person by the parents or any other person. The person doesn't have education. How is he going to manage it? So if you have the right kind of education, then things will go well in your life. If you don't, that is your doom. People are not doing well in life, not because they lack anything, but because they lack education. Because if you lack education, you will lack everything. It is education that is giving you the power to do what you are supposed to do. So if you don't have it, please, you are doomed. So the effects are many. The effects are many. It's a life, as I said, it's education is a lifetime process.
So can you mention some of the effects, at least maybe one or two, so we will know the... First of all,
your life will be a disaster. You wouldn't know your left from your right. You wouldn't know. So, for instance, you are supposed to make a choice. Two choices confront you. You don't know what to do. It is the knowledge that you have acquired that will influence your choice. If you make a good choice, then you are okay. If you make a bad choice, and if you are not educated, if your brain and your mind has not been expanded, it means that you are doomed. So your life will first of all be a disaster. Number two, even your relationships, there will be a problem with your relationship. Men and women, ladies, and then let's say gentlemen are marrying without the proper education, telling them what is in marriage. The person wants to marry, but he doesn't know what really is in marriage. And therefore, his or her marriage will be difficult unless he or she acquires the proper knowledge. And that is education. So your interpersonal relationships, the people you are with, you have a problem with them. Because, for instance, when you go to school, if you have been in the boarding house before, you see that that's where we learn personal relationships, right? People will do things that you don't like. Your ability to tolerate and accommodate them will tell us where you end up. So if you are always flaring up, then it means you haven't received any education. Again, let's look at jobs. Now, if you are not being educated, it means that you will not get the proper job to do. Someone said, okay, but there are people who have succeeded in life. They don't really have education. And I always refute it. There's a problem with that. You cannot say the person did not get education. The person received education, just that it wasn't a classroom education. He was able to apply what God has given to him or her. So what do? You just have to learn. And when I was explaining education, I said it's a process. You learn, right? Learning is a process. So it should bring a change in your life. And then you unlearn. You do away with some learnings. There are certain things you were doing back in the days that you are not doing now. Is it a lie?
Oh, no.
No, very good. And there are certain things you need to relearn. So it's learning, unlearning, and then relearning. You need to always go through it before you succeed.
Okay, so how can we stop that lack of education?
Well, it's a matter of choice. To stop lack of education, to end it, is to continue educating people. To stop lack of education, in order to make sure that everyone gets educated. And by education, maybe you are still talking about schooling, people going to school. Okay, in that case, you need to educate people on the benefits of education, the benefits of schooling. Let them know that at school, there are things that are taught that the parent cannot teach. And therefore, you need to push your child through school. Whether the child is doing well or not, that is not a problem. The problem is that let a person know that he or she is going to school. And one thing is that people are always talking about education and schooling and then bringing in examination. Right? So when I go to school and I don't perform well, then people will taunt me, they will tease me, they will say all manner of things about me.
Yeah, that one is true.
Very good. And that is stopping people from schooling. And that should be discouraged. Well, examination is not the reason we go to school.
And that's how people see it.
Of course, because that's how our minds have been conditioned, right? There's a conditioning that when you go to school, it's all about education. So children fear to go to school. If they go to school and they don't do well, then their parents, the teachers, their friends will all be on that person. which is wrong. So we must, and it needs education. That if a child fails in an exam, it doesn't mark his or her end. There are people who have failed several times in their examinations, but still are soldiering on. So we must insist that that thing is not really a good thing to taunt people, to discourage people when they have failed. Yes, we should encourage them. And through that, we can end an education, or let's say lack of education.
Okay. Mr. Usu, time is now aside, so can you give your last words?
Well, my last words would be that education is very important in our lives, in our day-to-day activities. We all learn wittingly and unwittingly. As we go through life, we learn. So everybody, including I myself, should learn, including you. Strive to learn. Leave the old things behind. Forge ahead. Cut every piece that will hinder your education, and make sure you learn very, very hard. And if you do, it will pay off, definitely. So to those out there, I'm encouraging each and every person to take education serious. Let us drop that notion of education does not bring success. It does. It does. So let us encourage each and everyone to enjoy education. It's a good thing. It will actually bring the good fruit we all deserve.
Okay, Mr. Usu, thank you. We appreciate your time.
You're most welcome.
You heard it all. We would like to thank Mr. Owusu for spending the time with us. You heard about education. Without education, you cannot be successful. Though you might be successful, but you don't know how to maybe utilize it. Maybe you might have the skill, be talented, but you don't know how to use it unless someone directs you. That's why there's a saying that education is the passport to do for the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. A big thanks to Axe Media Training Institute. Do you want to be a renowned journalist, TV presenter, radio presenter? Then I'm advising you to come to Axe Media Training Institute. Axe Media Training Institute, Osi Bisa, near Bemo. I'm Agnes Avudufu. See you until next time. Bye.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Ask Media Training Institute. A radio and television practical school. Identity Emma wana opese waye ejuma radio any television eso. Wana opese usia camera works. Wana opese usia video editing. Enunti se wawie journalism school. Anase College of Education, Polytechnic nwawie. Anase University embo senior high school nwawie. Na ayiwani swade hunu se opese waye ejuma radio so anase TV so. Ask Media Training Institute ana mekanfo edi amawo. O hostel edi ma ema ene mema. Enuti fa form ne ewo Royal TV officer ewo Kumase ahoju enhyaye so anase Royal TV officer ewo Enkran Achibota ene ABC ene di enhwani mu omoga Rural Bank na esro hwa ahomatofo so a obetumi afrɛ 0540102366. Ask Media Training Institute Osi Bisa near the Bema.
Things in this land, can't you see?